Good morning. Today we're going to be making coffee out of a percolator. Here's a percolator, the Farberware percolator that you can buy on Amazon for about $44 or anywhere else where you know to buy your coffee percolator. This is the one that has a handle like this, and it makes about 20 cups of coffee. Inside it has a basket, and in that basket goes this filter, which I have filled up with coffee grinds, and I put the grinds all the way up until the top, as you can see there. Hopefully there it is, and it has a hole in the middle that then will catch inside the basket. And this is an alternate way to making coffee than using a Keurig cup instant coffee maker. And of course, you see it's not an espresso machine. So I'm going to be using an iMusa burner, single burner, and I'm going to put it at the highest level. But before I do that, I want to show you how I close it. Here is the top to it. That's the top. And I just cover the basket, and this is the lid that comes with it. Once the water starts burning, it'll start coming up and it'll shoot right into this glass. And when you know that the coffee is almost ready to be done, you'll see that the water that's shooting up into this glass area will start turning brown, the same color as your ground coffee. And then from then on, you can wait about 4 or 5 minutes, and then you can turn off the burner and just let it cool for about 1 or 2 minutes, and then you can serve it. That's how I personally do it. You might find you have others that have their own way of doing it. So, and just so you know, for reference, I have previously already filled this container, this percolator, with hot water, so it doesn't take a long time to heat up, as opposed to cold water, which is going to be taking forever. This is already a longer method of preparing your coffee in the morning, so it's not an instant method of preparing it, but the coffee grinds have a better flavor. Your coffee will have a different flavor. It'll get more flavor out of your coffee than a Keurig, for example. And the smell that will fill the room as it's boiling, it's to die for. So we'll close it here. And you know it's closed when you hear it snap, just like you just did. And we're going to put this iMusa single burner all the way to the highest level. And it takes a while, so it's going to be about 10 to 15 minutes before it starts boiling, hopefully less, since the water's already hot. So I'm just going to pause it here, and I'll be back when it finishes, when it starts to boil, and when it's ready to be served. I would also advise to not touch the percolator while it's heating up, because it can get real hot. There's nothing protecting your hand from the heat that comes off of the percolator. So let's keep the kids as well as your hands off of the percolator while it's boiling. Also, make sure there's nothing around the burner that can catch fire. And also make sure that the burner is clean of old residue or anything else that you might have used on the burner, so when it starts heating, it won't catch fire. So you want to take preventative measures to not have any unnecessary accidents. I also like to keep the handle towards me, so when I'm done with the coffee, I can just pick it up and pour and not have to reach around and risk spilling it anywhere. Some of you might want to have the handle in the back in case you have children, so when they're running past it, if you have active children, they won't just bump into the handle and knock the whole thing off. I would also advise that you might want to place the percolator in the center of the burner. These iMusa single burners, they Sometimes they heat in one section more than the other, but if you move the percolator exactly to the center, you'll see you have an even distribution of heat throughout the percolator. So I want to bring the focus to the glass top. Now it's boiling, but it's still boiling. The water is boiling at a clear color. And we know it's done when the water starts boiling at the color of the coffee that you have in there, a light brown. I just want to bring note to the fact that using hot water will make this process a lot faster. If you use cold water, you're going to be sitting there for a long time. If you're using a single burner, especially, waiting for the water to eventually boil. So with adding hot water instead of cold water, it took about 5 minutes to boil instead of 10 minutes or more. So with this single burner, that is. So for reference, I've filled it up to about here. And I don't drink that much coffee, but just in case someone is in need of coffee, I can offer it to someone. It's always good for conversation to make a little extra coffee than you need for yourself. And as you see, the top, it's now boiling the water is now boiling brown. The coffee is now being filtered through. And we can go ahead and turn the burner off. And what I like to do, I like to take it off the burner and let it cool for a minute or two. Okay, so now in the virtual world, a minute has passed and the coffee is now ready to be served. And just remember, it's boiling hot, so you want to be as careful as possible. And if you're a real coffee aficionado, as some people are snobbish about their coffee, you might not want to put any cream or sugar in it. But if stuff like that doesn't matter to you, you might want to put a few creams and sugars into it. But if you just take it black, you'll notice that there is definitely a taste difference than if you were to use your Keurig or an espresso or an express method of making your coffee, excuse me. It's early. There you go. Percolator from Farberware. 20 cups, $45 on Amazon. Have a good day.